Today on Mother Mayhem, let's get you clear on one thing. Her silence does not define you. That buck stops here, my friend. Her refusal to communicate is a reflection of her and her issues and her limitations and not yours. Has nothing to do with you. Welcome back to Mother Mayhem, the podcast for daughters of narcissistic and emotionally limited mothers. I'm your host, Heather Gray. Now, just in a bit, I'm going to be introducing you to Charlie. Right now, her mom is putting her through the absolute ringer, and she's feeling lost. She's focusing so much on her mother and what her mother is doing that she's losing sight of who she is. She's losing her footing, and all of you who have been absolutely in it with your own mothers, well, you know exactly what that's like. How suddenly, regardless of your actual life, the only relationship in your life that's getting your attention is the one you have with your mother. So many of you know exactly what it is like when your mother becomes the only thing you think about or focus on. This is what the mother wound trauma does to you. It dysregulates you to your core. And this is the conversation we have week after week on Mayhem. But sometimes, and you all know this part pretty well too, you just can't talk about it. You have to do something about it. But figuring out what to do or how to do it can be really intimidating. And as proud as I am of this podcast, I know that it has its limits and how far it can actually take you on your healing journey. This is why I have been working to build an ecosystem of support for you around the podcast. I've been working to create the safety net you need to hold you while you're doing the work of recovering from your mother wounds. Each week, Mayhem has 2 therapy support groups for daughters, one on Tuesdays and one on Thursdays. We also have a private online community for daughters that is off of social media, where daughters can connect, share, offer support, receive support. And when your mother wound is taking over everything, Mayhem Daughters is a place that can hold you during those in-between times. And that is so important. If you're trying to take the conversations we've been having here on Mayhem and moving them into action, I would encourage you to consider joining group or Mayhem Daughters. This is tough work, but you don't have to be doing it alone. Mayhem has you. It is for sure a club that no one asks to be a member of, but you belong here, and we already believe you. You can find the links to join in the show notes. And if you are struggling to find that link through your podcast app and you're trying to determine if group is right for you, you can always email me at heather@daughtersnpd.com. I'm so happy to help you find the resources that are right for you. Now, let me introduce you to Charlie. I know so many of you daughters know her story and her struggles pretty well. Her mom's favorite weapon, the silent treatment. At the time that Charlie wrote me, it was going on for 11 months and counting. And sadly, we're probably at the 1-year mark by now. We're actually probably past it. Between the silent treatment and her mom's accompanying verbal attacks of her character, Charlie is just done in. And of course, we all understand why. It is dysregulating to be given the silent treatment, to be cut off, to not know when or if the person's coming back, and when that is compounded by accusations of not being enough, not doing enough, well, it becomes really hard to find your footing or a safe place to land. Today, that's what I am hoping that we can offer Charlie here at Mayhem, a safe place to land. And now, Charlie, I have to confess a little bit. If you haven't figured it out by now, you were named after a boy. I hope you don't mind, but I named you after Charlie and perks of being a wallflower. You and Charlie, well, you guys have a lot in common. He too felt the weight of his trauma and he's impacted by really intense anxiety. He feels out of place, misunderstood, on the outside looking in. And also, despite what the world has thrown at him, he has heart, a lot of heart, and really good intentions. He has such a capacity for love despite the self doubt that he's carrying. And I know you feel really alone right now. And everyone in your life is at the place where they just want you to be done with your mom so you can stop hurting, so you can stop feeling so bad. But I also know that this is going to be a journey for you, even if it makes those around you uncomfortable and sad for you. And it is a lot to hold. I am hoping that in our conversation today, I can help you manage the weight of everything that you are holding and that you are managing so that you can learn to hold it differently so it doesn't feel so heavy. And I hope I can help you find that soft place to put it down and that mayhem can be your soft place to land. We've got you, and we are sending so much love your way. And now, Charlie, here's your story, and I'll find you on the other side. Hi, Heather. The first time I remember my mom giving me the silent treatment, I was in kindergarten. I had been asked at school who my favorite person was, and I told my class all about my Nana and about my Nana's chocolate chip cookies. Her cookies were always better than everyone else's cookies because no matter the cookie, she put powdered sugar on top of them. Because in the world, according to Nana, there was no such thing as too much sweet or too much special. I was so proud of myself for being able to show my Nana off to my entire class. When my mom asked me how school was, I was so excited to tell her what I did and how brave I was for going in front of the class. I remember feeling quickly that I said the wrong thing when my mom asked me to repeat the question my teacher had asked, and I remember feeling like I lost my voice when I whispered that she had asked who our favorite person was. My mom started crying and said, I work really hard every day for you to love me and for me to be your favorite person. She then went to her room and told me that she needed a minute. That night at dinner, she left the table crying, and my dad tried to cover it up, making silly faces. But I knew I was the reason my mom was crying. I don't know how long she actually went that time not talking to me, but as I grew up, she has done it countless times. By the time I was in high school, the spells could last weeks, and they could be over anything. But usually it was because I wasn't showing enough attention, thanking her enough, or appreciating her enough. I went to college for culinary arts, and my roommate's family owned a family restaurant. She said I could spend spring break with them and work in the restaurant, and that her parents would introduce me to restaurant life. My mom stopped talking to me for the longest time. I think she went 7 or 8 months. As I got older, it wasn't just the silent treatment. She got mean and attacking, accusing me of being awful, unfeeling, ungrateful, selfish, not loving her enough. When I decided to even go to college, something she never did, She called me an elitist and disloyal to the family. She's called me a traitor, named the crime, and she's probably accused me of it. Now I'm 32, married, and with a little girl of my own, and it has been 11 months since my mom has spoken to me. My crime this time? Inviting both sides of the family to Easter last year instead of just her. According to her, I was just lumping her in with everyone else and didn't actually want to spend the holiday with her. I was just checking her off the list because it was convenient. She didn't come last Easter and has rebuffed every attempt I have made at connection and repair. I've hit a wall and she has been unreachable ever since. There's a version of me that wants to be able to tell you that I'm fine. It's just my mom being my mom at this point, and that I know she'll come around. There's another part of me that wants to be able to proudly tell you that Wise Mind has the wheel, and fuck her. I'm using this as my opening to go no contact, and I'm going to tell her to stay gone, that she doesn't even need to come back around, that if she can go nearly a year without me, she might as well go the rest of her life. But neither are true. I wish them to be. My wife wishes I could feel that way. My friends wish I could feel that way. But every time my mom has stopped talking to me, even though she has done it all my life, I am just undone, dysregulated, and spinning in anxiety. And I'm so very sad. Her absences bottom me out every time. I lose sleep. I lose weight. I lose focus. I cry like it's going out of style. Is crying actually ever in style? I don't know. All I know is I cry a lot. I ruminate. I perseverate. I obsess. It just hurts all over, and it becomes all I can see. I'm like a teenage girl cyber stalking her ex-boyfriend because I'm on Facebook trying to scan her profile for hints that she misses me too, that she's open to me coming back, or for any kind of opening to reconnect. It used to be her absence, her being gone that would get me, and that for sure still packs a punch. But what I obsess over is what she says about me, that I am this awful person and that I am the worst daughter. I get caught in this web of trying to prove my love, of trying to get her to see me, to understand me, to know how much I love her and need her. I try desperately to get her to see how much I care about her, how important she is to me, and how much I still want, need, and love her. Admitting this to you is hard because I've been listening to your show for a while now, and I know you would not want me groveling. My wife doesn't want me groveling. She just wants my mom gone, and I can't bear the thought that this is not fixable, that there isn't anything I can do, even though I have moments where my heart does tell me that there isn't anything I can do, that she is just unwell. But I can't accept that she thinks of me as bad or selfish or disloyal. How do daughters do this, Heather? How do I get out of the loop? How do I stop caring about what she thinks? And what is it going to take to get me to take better care of myself? Because I so want that for myself. I want to take better care of myself and of my family, better care of all of us than taking care of her. And I have done so many rounds of this with her. Since kindergarten, she has accused me of not loving her, not making space for her in my life, not seeing her, not caring about her, not loving her as much as I love other people, misunderstanding her. And I just can't bear it. I know I shouldn't want her back, but I do. And I know I shouldn't care what she thinks, but I really, really do. How do I get out of this loop, out of this heartbreak? I am so stuck. She has all of the power and I have none of it. Please help. Ooh, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, Charlie. This one, well, we know it, right? It just really hurts. I can feel how much this weighs on you and how hard you're trying for a different ending to the story. And I get it. So many daughters listening in on us right now, they get it too because they have been there. The silent treatment is just the worst. And it's the worst because it works. Make no mistake about it, sister. There is nothing silent about the silent treatment. It is a weapon, a tool of emotional manipulation. It is a calculated method of control, and it is designed to make you feel small, to feel invisible, and desperate for any form of connection. At its core, it is about power, about making you beg for a crumb of acknowledgement, a scrap of validation, just to prove that you matter. And the longer it lasts, the more it eats away at your self-worth. Here's what so many of you know too. When your mother or anyone else gives you the silent treatment, they're trying to force you into a corner, either to apologize for something you haven't actually done or to be the one to break, to be the one who reaches out first. They want to put you in a position where you question your own reality, your own worth, your own voice. It is a manipulative tactic that keeps you off balance, constantly trying to read her mood, constantly wondering what you did wrong, constantly doubting yourself, constantly giving her attention, because ultimately that's what she's looking for, your attention. The worst part of all of this is that it doesn't just hurt in the moment. It lingers. It keeps you trapped in this cycle of confusion and of self-doubt. And it makes it really, really hard to move on or to find any kind of peace. The longer it goes on, the harder it becomes to trust your own feelings, your own perceptions. The silent treatment is a form of emotional abuse. Full stop. It is emotional abuse. And that reinforces the idea that your voice doesn't matter until they decide that it does. And that is exactly what makes it so insidious. It is not about the silence. It is about everything that silence says without having to say a word. And it's about what happens after they decide to be done with the silence. How unnerving it is when it just suddenly stops. How it sort of feels like sweet relief, but it also ends up feeling like being constantly wound in tension, wondering how long this episode of peace is going to last, or when she might decide to stop talking to you again. She stops the silence, but still you end up scanning, vigilant, and waiting for the next attack. There is never peace, and your nervous system never gets to feel safe and never gets to be off from high alert. And that is why you are finding it so hard to calm down, to stop scanning. It's why you're ruminating. It's why you're perseverating. Everything you are experiencing, Charlie, and everything you're feeling about this is so incredibly normal. It is traumatic to be in connection or in relationship with somebody and then have them suddenly stop talking to you or break off contact. You are having such a normal reaction to this series of abnormal events. And I want to assure you that you are making so much sense to me. Your anxiety makes a lot of sense to me. Your dysregulation makes sense to me. And I do think I can help. But first, I need to walk you through the psychobabble of what's happening to you when your mom gives you the silent treatment. Because I want you to be able to make sense to yourself too. And I want the other daughters that are in company with you also living this nightmare to make sense of themselves too. So here goes. When your mom gives you the silent treatment, it isn't just the absence that's getting to you. It's all those things that come with it. She's accused you of being selfish, of not loving her enough, of not being grateful enough, or not giving her the attention that she needs. And these accusations are awful enough all on their very own. But when you combine them with the silence, it gets this toxic feedback loop created in your mind. That makes it so you're questioning your worth. You're questioning and second guessing your actions. And you might even second guess your love. You can't breathe. You can't find resolution. And you end up trapped in that confusion, in the shame, and inside of your own self doubt. And it's in these cycles that you end up finding yourself chasing something that you're never going to be able to reach: her approval, her love, her acknowledgement of your efforts. You so badly want to be loved and understood by her, but no matter what you do, no matter what you give, it is never enough. So then her silence amplifies those feelings of inadequacy. Her accusations make you end up feeling like you are falling short in every single way possible. Why aren't you giving me the attention I deserve? Why aren't you doing more for me? Why aren't you grateful for what I've done? And her words, they sting, and you know this. And then when the silence follows, it's this constant reminder of never doing enough or being enough. And you're learning this. This isn't just emotional pain, it's physical pain. You said it yourself. Her absence bottoms you out. You're losing sleep. You're losing focus. You're losing the strength to do anything other than obsess over the things that she said about you, and then the silence that she leaves behind. And the worst part in this whole relentless loop is the ruminating here. It's like you're this detective in your own life. You're finding the clues that'll somehow bring the missing pieces together. You're checking her social media. You're hoping for some kind of sign or signal or something like that, that she's thinking of you and missing you and ready to reconnect with you. But it is searching for a lifeline in a fog. And the more you search, the more lost you end up feeling. And here is the absolute kicker: her silence and her accusations work to push you even deeper. You feel like you have to keep proving yourself, keep showing her that you love her, keep apologizing for never being good enough. But the constant proving never ends. It just keeps you stuck. And you're left trying to make sense of a relationship that is never going to make sense. And this is where it gets harder, because you're carrying the emotional burden that all of this is somehow your fault. After all this time, she's got you believing that if you could do more, be more, love better, maybe she would see you differently. But no matter how much you give, no matter how hard you try to meet her needs, her silence continues to tell you that you're not enough. And those accusations, they get you like daggers, reinforcing the idea that you're selfish, you're ungrateful, or undeserving of love. It is a cycle of emotional punishment that is never letting up, and it erodes your ability to trust yourself and your own feelings. But here's the truth, Charlie. She is never going to let you win, because if you were ever to get it right, the gig, it would be up. She needs you in the chase. She needs you trying because she wants your energy on her. She wants your attention on her. She is not looking to connect. She is not looking for that ever elusive mother-daughter relationship. She isn't looking for any kind of relationship because she isn't capable of that. So she replaces it with cat and mouse games. As long as you're reaching out, as long as you're chasing her and trying, and if she sees that she can go a year without talking to you and still you will try for her, you will seek her, you will reach out to her, well, that ends up soothing her. It gives her exactly what she's looking for. That is where she finds relief in herself, not in getting you to meet her needs, but in your quest for her approval. She stops winning as soon as you stop trying. And I know you're a bit of a ways away from that right now, but it is so important that you hear me on this. The gig is up when you stop trying, when you stop reaching, when you stop looking in her direction. And no, when the gig is up, that does not mean that light will dawn over Marblehead and that she will see how much you love her and see how much you care and then end up relenting. No, she will just wait for a moment when she can start the whole cycle all over again. And please hear me on this. This is not your fault. These are behaviors that she has learned and continues to use to maintain her control over you. Her silence is her weapon, and her accusations are tools in her quest for control. You have been conditioned to believe that you're the one who's wrong, that you're the one who should be apologizing, and you're the one responsible for making things right. But this is a dynamic that has absolutely nothing at all to do with your worth. It is about her inability to recognize your needs and her refusal to validate your emotions. Now, I want to help you see this clearly, because when you are in the midst of it, it can be hard to make sense of. When you are on the receiving end of the silent treatment, your body and mind react as though you are under threat. Your nervous system goes into fight, flight, freeze, fawn. It scrambles to protect you from the emotional overload. You begin to question your worth, your love, and your ability to do the right thing. And then this is where trauma brain comes into play. It keeps you stuck in the cycle of trying to fix, trying to prove, trying to please, because your body is in survival mode, constantly searching for the way to make it stop. But this is where you can start to heal. You can remind yourself that this cycle is not about you. It is about the pattern that has been in place for so long. Your mother's behavior, her silent treatment, and her accusations are forms of control and manipulation. They are tools she's using to make you feel small, to make you doubt yourself, and to keep you emotionally dependent on her approval. Healing begins the moment you stop chasing her approval and decide to stop participating in the cycle. Focus on yourself to reclaim your peace. And it's pretty tricky. You have been conditioned to react, to internalize her criticism, and to feel responsible for her happiness. But you don't have to keep carrying that responsibility. You don't have to keep trying to fix a relationship that isn't actually capable of being fixed right now. Your job is to break free of this cycle. The first step in healing is recognizing that this is emotional abuse. This is not a loving relationship. It isn't actually any kind of relationship. You've been trained to be over attuned to her needs. And it is okay to work on stopping your role in the pattern, because when one thing changes, everything changes. And this means we have to work on helping you start to trust your own perception of the situation, the silence and the accusations, getting you to see that they are not reflections of your worth. They are signs of dysfunction in the relationship. Something that might help you here is that you are married. And unless your wife is a masochist of some kind, that means you very well likely love someone who already loves you. That someone finds you worthy of being loved. And this person you love doesn't believe anything your mother says, or that you deserve any of this. And you have a little girl. And while you haven't shared very much about her, it doesn't seem as though she runs away from being in a relationship with you, that she doesn't light up when she sees you. And you have friends who only want you to see yourself the way they see you. They too want you to be done beating yourself up. They too want to see you put this mother wound down. So the people in your circle, Charlie, none of them seem to agree with your mother. And they love you, and they see you, and they care about you. And we know you have been programmed to believe your mom. But at some point, Charlie, you have got to give yourself permission to see yourself the way everyone else sees you. These are people you trust, people who have been consistent with you, people who have been in actual relationship with you. And I need you to take a second here and take a really long, hard look at your mom, who she is, how she lives her life, what she says, how she talks to people, how she talks about people. Think of everything you know about her aside from how she is when in relationship with you. Do you agree with her? Do you share her values? Do the two of you align in your thinking of all things? I have got to assume, Charlie, that there is no way that is true. So if you don't agree with her about all of those other things, we need you to look at why you have chosen to believe her about you. No one else you know, love, or care about agrees with her. You don't agree with her. So, Charlie, let's make room for the idea that she has it so very, very wrong. And in order to get you to join us there, Me, this community, your wife, your daughter, your friends, we need you to give yourself permission to be soothed. You may not be in a place where self-soothing feels possible. You might be so dysregulated that you feel like you don't know your own mind. But we need you to get back into your body, and we need your body to start being kinder and safer for you. We need you to start calming and staying calm so that you can catch your breath and so that you can keep your breath. We have got to get you regulated so that wise mind has room to land and take firmer root in your heart and in your mind. It sounds like you've been chronically dysregulated for the better part of the past 12 months. That even on the good months, that there's been this low level hum playing in the background. And sometimes it has been in the foreground, and it has been all you've been able to think about. By now, you're probably sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, but also your body has likely made a habit of being dysregulated. So things that have historically calmed or distracted you may not be feeling as effective. So I want to give you a care plan for when you are chronically dysregulated. We are working to help you calm your body, and we are working to help your nervous system feel safe. This means we are not processing all of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. We are not trying to make decisions or plans. We are trying to help you release tension, to find your breath, and to feel safe and grounded in your present consistently. To your trauma brain, that will feel like you aren't doing anything. And that's okay, because once you calm, your trauma brain will start to pipe down and it'll start to trust you more. Once your body knows and trusts that you're willing to listen to it, it will stop screaming at you. So I can't give you a perfect prescription for how often or what time of day to do these things, but I am going to encourage all of you to build your own daily personal practice of calming strategies. And I would encourage you to do these regularly enough to build a habit and ritual for yourselves. And the reality is that if you are habitually dysregulated or you're chronically beating yourselves up, well, you're going to have to do this practice more often each day to counteract the chaos that's happening in your body and the inner critic that's taking residence in your mind. So here's a rundown of things you can try. No new news here. These are all things that you have heard me talk about before, and not all of them are going to work for everyone. So we're just going to consider this to be a buffet, a buffet of regulating practices that you can try to work on and build so that they can become your own. First up, pause and breathe. When you feel the dysregulation hit, whether it's anxiety, panic, a sense of being overwhelmed, I want you to pause right in the moment before your thoughts can even start spiraling. Take a deep breath. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold that for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts and hold for 4 counts again. We call this box breathing, and do this for at least 3 rounds. And it will feel kind of awkward and maybe even counterintuitive at first, but grounding in your breath signals to your body that it is safe to slow down. Then we want to work with you to increase your ability to acknowledge where you are and what is actually happening in your present. Your brain is likely still responding as though you are currently under threat, even though your current reality is pretty different. So take a moment to tell yourself, this isn't that. I am safe now. You can say it out loud and you can say it internally. This helps reassure your nervous system that the immediate situation is not nearly as dangerous as your body believes it to be. Then you work on grounding. So we got to get you to start engaging your senses. What can you see, hear, taste, touch, smell? List 5 things you can see around you, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can touch, something you can taste, or something you can smell. This is a simple way to reconnect yourself to your surroundings and to remind your body that you are in the present moment, not reliving the same old past trauma. Then we work with you on movement and body awareness, tuning into your body. This is so important for those of you who are managing chronic dysregulation. Movement is a really good tool for calming your nervous systems, whether you're stretching or walking or shaking your body out or dancing to your favorite song in the kitchen. We have got to get your body moving to help you shake off that tension so you are able to reset. And if intense movement feels too much or too triggering, then just focus on gentle stretching, on yoga. Allow yourself to open your chest, allow yourself to breathe deeper and build up self soothing practices. Once your body is starting to feel more grounded, you have got to engage in self soothing. Wrapping yourself in a blanket, running your hands under warm water, making yourself a cup of tea. These little things are reminders to your nervous system that you are nurturing yourself, that it's okay to nurture yourself, that you deserve care, that you are not abandoning yourself in this moment. Then you can consider whether some journaling or maybe even visualizing would be helpful for you. Because if you are someone who tends to keep your feelings bottled up, a lot of you end up telling me that you get tired of bothering everyone with your feelings or they don't want to hear about your mom all the time. Journaling or verbalizing what you're experiencing can be really, really helpful. And then it allows you to name what you're feeling without any kind of judgment, without sadness or anger, frustration or fear. You're just saying it, you're naming it. And you can even say it out loud. This is what I'm feeling, but I'm not going to let it control me. This is about release and getting those feelings out. We are not processing it. You are stating it out loud and then you are moving on. Then, if you want to and it feels safe and comfortable for you, you can reach out for support. It is so important to reach out for support if you feel like your nervous system can handle it, because you do not need to manage all of this by yourself. And if you are in a space where you can connect with someone who's safe, who you can share your experience with, and let them know what you're going through, either in a text or a voice note, letting someone in your tribe know what's going on. And Charlie, if you're like most daughters that I know, you worry about being too much, or you worry that no one would understand it, or any of that. And I gotta encourage you here for a second. You're not going down a rabbit hole of all of your mother's flaws. You're sharing with them what it feels like, how it feels in your body. And you're sharing with them how you are working to help your body feel better by catching those feelings and releasing them. You don't have to fix it in that moment. And you are sharing with them that you don't need them to fix it in the moment, that they are helping just by listening and not engaging in problem solving, but instead mirroring for you what it is they hear you saying and seeing what it is that you have to share, because being witnessed is healing. It's taken your dysregulation this long to find itself on a repeat loop. So it is going to take a while for you to build the habits that are going to work to consistently get you out of that loop. But I promise you, it is worth doing. You deserve to have a calm body that isn't in a state of flight, freeze, fawn, and you deserve a body that doesn't betray you. And once we get you calm, we do need to get you considering what you are going to do about your mom and how you are going to engage in her manipulations going forward. It is time to consider how you are going to manage the periods of silence with your mom. This silence, as you mentioned, has been a pattern in your relationship, one where she either gives you the silent treatment or she's accusing you of being selfish and ungrateful and playing the bad daughter card. And obviously, it's understandable how disruptive and how disoriented that can be. But the important part to remember here is that this is something you can manage. Just like we've been practicing with you the skills of self regulation, we can help you manage the silent treatment. First and foremost, let's get you clear on one thing. Her silence does not define you. That buck stops here, my friend. Her refusal to communicate is a reflection of her and her issues and her limitations, and not yours. Has nothing to do with you. This is something that I have a feeling that intellectually you already understand, but the emotional impact of her silence might be making you question that. And here's what we can do to help you manage it. First, you're going to acknowledge the dysregulation. Right now, her silence might feel like a roller coaster of emotions. And when the silence hits, you're going to take that deep breath. You're going to remind yourself that her silence is her choice, not something you have any kind of control over. You can't make her talk. You can't make her see you, but you can choose to stay grounded and present with yourself. This is where that work of the nervous system regulation comes in, and you're going to practice grounding. And that is why, like, ad nauseum, and admittedly, guys, I get bored hearing myself talk about this. So you probably get bored hearing me talk about it. But breathing, mindful movement, self soothing, staying in the present, getting out of all of that internal chaos. It is required work to get you out of this loop. Then we want you getting control of this entire thing by starting to create a plan for yourself and your own emotional well-being around what you're going to do and how you're going to deal during these periods of silence. So it's a silent treatment survival plan. When her silence hits, you're going to make a plan now, and you're going to identify what you can do to protect yourself emotionally. So maybe you're creating a ritual of comfort, a hot bath, talking to a friend, journaling, something that's going to help you process your feelings when you start feeling the predictable anxiety and sadness come up. You can check in with yourself regularly. How am I feeling right now? What do I need to calm down and feel supported? Make a list of the things that work. Make a list of those things that help ground you so that when you're in that moment of dysregulation, of panic, you have something to draw from without having to think of it in the moment when you're already panicked. It might be going for a walk or listening to music. For me, I have playlists for every situation. So I have a playlist when I'm really sad. I have a playlist for when I'm feeling really mad, a playlist when I feel lonely, and there's just playlists for every mood. But what are you going to do when your mom stops talking to you? Because what you've been doing, the ruminating, the perseverating, all of that has not been working for you. So it's time to come up with a new plan. Then we've got to work with you to limit self blame and rumination. Because when you get stuck in that cycle of self doubt, thinking that it's you and you must have done something, we have got to remind yourself that this is her issue. It's not yours. You've done nothing wrong. And the fact that you're questioning yourself means that you are in trauma brain mode. This is your body trying to make sense of something that's never going to make sense. So instead of self blame, instead of ruminating, we have got to get you to start practice saying to yourself, this is not about me. Her behavior is about her. I am not responsible for her feelings. And the more you repeat this, the easier it becomes to detach yourself from her emotional pull. Then heads up, because Charlie, we've got to help you prepare for her return. Don't put yourself in the passenger seat waiting and reacting to what she's going to say or do. Let's get you ready for what you're going to do in the event that she comes back. And if she decides to break her silence, when she does re-engage, we want you ahead of the game. We want you already knowing how you're going to respond, what your boundary is, because we don't want you jumping into her emotional mess. Her coming back, again, remember, I've said this, might feel like relief at first because her silence is over. But remember, her return brings up all of those old patterns, all of the accusations, all of the emotional manipulations, and you've already begun to build boundaries with yourself. You've already begun to trust yourself. So when she comes back into your life, you have got to hold your ground. When one thing in the pattern changes, everything changes. You do not need to fix anything. You do not need to explain yourself. You, of course, do not need to apologize one more time. If she starts accusing you of being selfish, of not doing enough, you have got to simply and calmly remind her that you are choosing to respond from a place of peace and a place of respect. And then set clear boundaries right there in the moment. You don't have to engage in a cycle of criticism. You don't have to defend yourself. When she tries to get you into that guilt or shame spiral, you can say something like, I hear you, but I won't accept being spoken to like that. If you'd like to have a respectful conversation, I'm open to it. Otherwise, I'm walking away. And reaffirm that you are not responsible for managing her emotional responses. Your peace is what matters here. Then we've got to help you prepare emotionally, Charlie, because I think that's what's undoing you here, is that you're largely caught unprepared because you're constantly scanning forward, waiting for risk, trying to avoid the silent treatment, trying to avoid the attack. And so you're always caught in this game of coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you're managing all of this from the passenger seat of your life. So you're reacting to her. And what we want you to do is get in the driver's seat by having these plans around body regulation, by having a plan for how you're going to manage her silent treatment, by having a plan for how you're going to manage the intense emotions all of this brings up, because if she re-engages or when she disengages, that is always going to stir up really intense feelings. And it might be relief at first, and then anger, and then confusion. And you might get yourself all like spun out and spun up. And we need you grounded. We want you validating your feelings. And then, based on what is in front of you, based on what your body is telling you, based on what it feels like, we then want you deciding what you are going to do next from that empowered place, from that self knowing place, from the self trusting place, acknowledging your feelings without letting them dictate your behavior. That's how we help you build new patterns. That is how we get you to cement the changes that you are trying to make inside and within yourself as to how you respond to this pattern. So we're breaking the cycle. We're breaking how you are in the silent treatment. We're breaking how you are managing all of this emotional manipulation. We are interrupting the pattern. So the next silent treatment, because we know there's going to be another one, you're not automatically filling the same role. You're not chasing after her. You're not apologizing. You're not trying to fix things immediately. Instead, you are going to train your brain to focus on your well-being, because her silent treatment, nothing new to see there. No new tricks, no new nothing. We are going to work on retraining your brain to focus on you and your well-being. Healing requires consistency, my friend. The more you stay emotionally connected and regulated, the more you set boundaries, detach yourself from her behavior, the more you are going to be able to teach yourself that you can handle her silence without having a spiral of your own. And then in those moments, we need you to recognize the shift that you are making over time as you hold those boundaries, as you stop reacting to her silence. You're building a new way of being. Things are going to start shifting. And I know it is not a quick fix. It is a lot to ask of yourself, but by creating this space between her behavior and your reactions, that is where you are giving yourself room to heal. So that when she does re-engage, and we know she will as soon as you're not feeding her supply, you will notice that you are becoming less reactive. And then magically, over time, you are able to observe her behavior without taking it personally. And you cannot do this without support. Healing from this kind of pattern requires support. So do please make sure you're not going through this alone. Whether you're going to therapy or talking to your friends or your wife, find the people who will hold space for you in your healing without encouraging you to go back to that toxic cycle. You are working to create healthier relationships, and you deserve a healthy relationship with yourself first and foremost. So, Charlie, I got in the weeds with you a little bit, sister, and I'm sorry about that. I know I was super detailed, and I kind of want to roll my eyes at myself at the moment, but your mother's silent treatment and her emotional manipulation does not have to dictate your peace. Getting grounded, reinforcing your boundaries, learning to respond in healthier new ways breaks the goddamned cycle. And then the next time she's silent, you're gonna stay grounded. not because it's easy to do, but because you have actually learned to trust yourself this time. You trust your feelings, you trust your ability to navigate a storm. You do not need to fix her. You just need to protect you. And I promise you, your peace and your well being are worth the effort. And remember, you are in this community of women around the world who are in this with you. And I, for sure, most definitely, am in it with you too. Bye for now. I do hope you enjoyed today's conversation. If you have a question you'd like me to consider for the show, please do email me over at heather@daughtersnpd.com. You are always welcome to share your story or questions by recording yourself using the voice app on your phone. For best recording quality, please do record directly into your phone without using headphones or Bluetooth speakers. We're building an incredible community as well over on Instagram, and I'd love to see you over there too. You can find us at Daughters NPD. Lastly, if you love what you've been hearing here on Mayhem and have found the show helpful in your own trauma recovery, please do consider becoming a Mother Mayhem sponsor by purchasing simple scripts for saying hard things. It's a resource I created that provides the right words for the hard conversations, and it covers life, love, and work. You'll find a link for that in the show notes. If you know another woman who needs this conversation in her life, please do share the show with her. Your reviews and social shares help spread the word, and I hope you'll consider doing so. Special thanks to Heather Clark for editing the show. She's in my head and knows what I meant to say when the words come out backwards. Thanks so much for your time today. As always, I'm in it with you. Bye for now.